Some people are really starting to fuck me up.
I wouldn't lie about that. Seriously, you said that.
Question here. 2 weeks before I started the experiment, why the fuck does it matter? You're right. No, I'm not fucking right. All fucking cunts.
The October 2nd episode of Married at First Sight UK delivered what might be the most shocking and disgusting display of behaviour we've ever seen on the show. Stephen, who had already been showing his true colours in recent episodes, reached a new low that left viewers absolutely furious and calling for him to be kicked off the show immediately. What happened to Nelly was nothing short of cruel, and Stephen's reaction when he was called out for his behaviour was so explosive and aggressive that it showed everyone exactly what kind of man he really is. This wasn't just a relationship breakdown. This was a complete character assassination that revealed Stephen to be one of the worst husbands in MAFS UK history. The drama actually started building before the dinner party even began. After their honeymoon period ended, Nelly had been noticing that Stephen was becoming cold and distant toward her. The man who had seemed so caring and mature during their early days was now showing a completely different side of his personality. When Nelly tried to talk to other people about her concerns, she confided in Key, one of the other grooms, about how Stephen was treating her. Key, being a decent human being, suggested to Stephen that he should try complimenting his wife more and showing her some appreciation. Stephen's reaction to this friendly advice was the first real sign of his explosive temper. Instead of taking the suggestion on board or even politely declining the advice, Stephen went completely off the rails. He confronted Key aggressively, telling him to "f off" and making it clear that he didn't want anyone interfering in his marriage. This outburst shocked everyone who witnessed it, as it showed a side of Stephen that was completely different from the calm, mature dad image he had been presenting. It was like watching a mask slip off to reveal something much uglier underneath. But that was just the beginning. The real horror show started when Nelly suffered a serious injury. She broke her rib in what must have been an incredibly painful accident. Any normal, caring husband would immediately drop everything to take care of his injured wife. He would make sure she was comfortable, help her with anything she needed, and stay close to provide support during her recovery. That's what you do when someone you love is hurt and in pain. Stephen did the exact opposite. Instead of staying home to care for his injured wife, he decided to go out for the entire day and night with the boys. While Nelly was at home, probably struggling with pain and needing help with basic tasks, Stephen was out having a good time like he didn't have a care in the world. The level of selfishness and lack of empathy was staggering. This wasn't just neglect. This was a complete abandonment of his responsibilities as a husband and as a decent human being. But Stephen wasn't just out having innocent fun with his friends. According to what came out at the dinner party, he was actually bragging about his sex life and past conquests. Julia Ruth revealed to the group that Stephen had been boasting about sleeping with a celebrity he met on Raya, the exclusive dating app, just 2 weeks before marrying Nelly. While his wife was at home, injured and in pain, Stephen was out telling anyone who would listen about his sexual adventures with other women. The disrespect was beyond anything anyone could have imagined. When the dinner party finally happened, all of this information came to light in the most explosive way possible. The other couples were already aware that Stephen had left his injured wife alone to go out partying, and they were disgusted by his behaviour. When Julia Ruth shared the story about Stephen bragging about his Raya hookup, the entire room was shocked. Here was a man who was supposed to be committed to his marriage, but instead he was publicly humiliating his wife by talking about other women he'd slept with. Nelly, who had been dealing with physical pain from her injury and emotional pain from Stephen's neglect, finally confronted him about his behaviour. She asked him about abandoning her while she was hurt and about the disrespectful comments he'd been making about other women. Any reasonable person would have apologised, shown some remorse, and tried to make things right. Stephen did none of those things. Instead, Stephen's reaction was to become defensive and aggressive. He denied the stories and became angry at being called out for his behaviour. When the group continued to press him about his actions, Stephen made one of the most infuriating comments in MAFS UK history. Looking at his accusers with complete arrogance, he said, "I'm finding this situation laughable." The comment was like a slap in the face to everyone in the room, but especially to Nelly, who was sitting there injured and humiliated. The laughable comment showed Stephen's complete lack of empathy and respect for his wife's feelings. Here was a woman who was physically hurt and emotionally devastated by her husband's behaviour, and he was literally laughing at the situation. It was one of the most cruel and dismissive things anyone has ever said on the show, and it revealed Stephen's true character in the most ugly way possible. When the group continued to call him out for his behaviour, Stephen completely lost control. He started shouting at everyone, demanding to know who had ratted him out about his bragging. When Julia Ruth admitted she was the one who had shared the story, Stephen's anger reached a boiling point. He began screaming and swearing at the entire table, showing an aggressive side that was genuinely frightening to watch. The climax of Stephen's meltdown came when he dramatically stormed out of the dinner party, leaving his injured and humiliated wife behind to deal with the aftermath of his behaviour. This final act of abandonment was the perfect ending to a night that had shown Stephen to be selfish, cruel, and completely unfit to be anyone's husband. He had neglected his injured wife, bragged about other women, dismissed her feelings as laughable, and then ran away when he was held accountable for his actions. The reaction from viewers has been absolutely furious. Social media has been flooded with comments calling for Stephen to be removed from the show immediately. Fans are saying things like, "Run Nelly," and expressing complete disgust at Stephen's behaviour. Many people are pointing out that if the roles were reversed and a woman had treated her injured husband this way, there would be massive outrage and calls for her to be kicked off the show. What makes Stephen's behaviour even more unforgivable is that Nelly has been nothing but supportive and understanding throughout their relationship. She's tried to work through their problems, been patient with his moods, and even when he was being cold and distant, she was still trying to make their marriage work. She deserved so much better than a man who would abandon her when she was injured and then publicly humiliate her by bragging about other women. The experts are going to have a massive problem on their hands when they have to deal with this situation. Stephen's behaviour has crossed every line of decency and respect, and there's no way they can continue to support a marriage where one person is being treated so badly. Nelly needs to get as far away from Stephen as possible, and viewers are hoping she realises that she deserves someone who will actually care for her when she's hurt, instead of abandoning her to go brag about his sexual conquests. Stephen's actions on October 2nd have shown him to be one of the most selfish and cruel participants in MAFS UK history. His complete lack of empathy, his disrespectful behaviour, and his explosive reaction when confronted have revealed his true character. And it's absolutely disgusting. Nelly deserves so much better, and fans are hoping she finds the strength to walk away from this toxic situation before Stephen can hurt her any more than he already has.